Greetings Keyforgers, I hope you are all well. We finally have some sealed Winds of Exchange to open for this channel. It's not from my pledge, that hasn't been delivered yet, but they are on dry land in the UK, so we should be expecting those in the next couple of weeks. There's been some exciting announcements which I will cover in another video, because today I just really want to crack open a sealed pack of Winds of Exchange. So here we go. I'm going down the middle. They look like the Dark Tidings packs. Do they have a little open tab? Looks like they're meant to, but it doesn't work, so I'll just do it this way. Which way am I going? There we go. Okay, look at that Archon. Just give you a close-up. There we go, Star Alliance Unfathomable and the new house Equidon, which I've been waiting to get into. We have Gunsmith, Geirny, Zierfel, and I'm not too sure what that token creature is, so let's take a closer look. There we have it. FYI, it was a lot easier to get into than the old mass mutation packs. I have noticed though, the cut quality at the bottom of the top of this card here is a little bit janky, and it is slightly off center, but let's hope the cards on the front look fine. That should be the deck list. That should be our token card, which is, okay, it's Amberling. 1 power, Amberling cannot reap. You may spend Amberling as if it were amber in your pool. Discard it, ignoring wards. That's a nice token creature. Let's turn over, see what we're starting with. We're starting with Unfathomable. Sunk Cost is an action. Play, choose a house. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand. If that card belongs to the chosen house, make a token creature. A second Sunk Cost. Kelp Minder, 5 power. It put a capture and 2 draw enhancements in the deck. A second Kelp Miner. And a third Kelp Miner. Kamalani, 4 power. Destroyed, make 2 token creatures. A lot of token generation in Unfathomable here. Guiltspine Netcaster, 2 power, has a capture enhancement, and it put 2 capture enhancements in the deck. After Reap, exhaust a creature. Covetous Hema, 3 power. While Covetous Hema is not on a flank, it gains elusive. Play, capture 3 amber. A second Covetous Hema. Wow, okay, a third Covetous Hema. This one has a capture enhancement and 3 draw enhancements. That's nuts. Befuddled is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, choose a house on your opponent's identity card. During their next turn, they cannot play cards of other houses. Abyssal Sight is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, destroy a friendly creature. If you do, look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it. That player discards that card. That was an insane, unfathomable house. Wow. Okay, moving on to Star Alliance. Uplink is an upgrade. You get an amber when you play it. This creature gains action. Make a token creature for each of this creature's non-Star Alliance neighbours. Teamwork is another action. Play, make a token creature. If there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, archive Teamwork. Specialist Guthrak, 3 power with Skirmish, and it has a capture enhancement. After fight, Reap, capture 1 amber for each house represented among Specialist Guthrak and its neighbours. Secure Droid, 4 power with Taunt, may be played as an upgrade instead of a creature. With a text, this creature gains Taunt. A second Secure Droid, this one with a capture enhancement. Scout Chief Kraggy, I probably butchered that, 2 power. Play, make a token creature. After fight, after Reap, make a token creature. A second Scout Chief. Red Alert is an action. Play, if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, deal damage to each enemy creature equal to the difference. Photon Blast is an action. Play, deal 2 damage to a creature with 1 damage splash. If this damage destroys 1 or more creatures, make a token creature. Selective Preservation is an action. Play, choose a creature of each power value. Destroy each creature not chosen. Grunt Work is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. Make a token creature. Norbin's Cavern is an artifact. Each friendly Amberling gets +3 power and skirmish. Wow. Wow. With the amount of token generation we've got, that's insane. I wonder if that's a must-have if you do get an Amberling, if you do get a Norbin's Cavern. Finally, we are on to Equidon, and we're starting out with a Maverick, so it's not really an Equidon. Stir Crazy is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play. Each ready creature captures 1 amber from its opponent. Trading Frenzy is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play a friendly creature and an enemy creature. Each capture 3 amber from their opponent. A second Trading Frenzy. This one has a draw enhancement. Shopping Spree is an action. Play. Discard your hand. Draw a card for each card discarded this way. Higher On is an action. Play. Make a token creature. If there is a combined total of 6 amber or more between both players' pools, archive Higher On. A second Higher On. And a third Higher On, this one with a capture enhancement. I'm just going to call this one the Recruiter because I have no idea how to pronounce that first name there. 4 power, after Reap, make a token creature. And again, this will be called the Esquire. 2 power, each friendly non-token creature gains destroyed, make a token creature. Exchange Program is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play. Choose a friendly flank creature and an enemy flank creature. If you do, swap control of those creatures. Transistory Philosopher, 5 power, with a draw enhancement, action, steal 1 amber for each enemy artifact. Insurance Policy is an upgrade. It's got a draw enhancement, play, lose 1 amber. This creature gains destroyed. If it is not your turn, gain 4 amber. Wow. For our first Winds of Exchange deck, I still think that is more token generation than the average Winds of Exchange deck. Let's take a closer look. Well, Keyforgers, it's a nice deck, but I did have an issue when I tried to scan it into the Master Vault. It says that it already exists to someone else, so I'm guessing this is a duplicate deck because when I looked, it had been scanned in July 2023. We're in August, so this is a duplicate deck. It is a nice deck. I'm not going to try and get ownership because I'm pretty sure there's 2 copies out there. Because how else would they have got it onto their account? So hopefully Ghost Galaxy will sort that out sometime in the future. But if we start with a breakdown, we had 16 creatures, 17 actions, 1 artifact and 2 upgrades. There were 6 draw enhancements and 5 capture enhancements, and we had a total of 8 printed amber across the deck. There were 14 cards that dealt with token generation in this deck, so it is a highly token focused deck. We had our Amberling, 1 power, can't reap, but we can spend it as if it was in our pool. We didn't have a key cheat in any of our houses, which is unfortunate. But if you're looking at Alliance, one of these pods might fit in quite well with other houses that have key cheats, maybe with that Amberling. But I'll wait and see till I open more decks before I make that kind of judgment. We'll start with Amber Control. In Star Alliance, we had Specialist Guthrak, 3 power with Skirmish. Hit one of those capture enhancements. Now I don't know if this is a misprint or if they were just going to run out of space, but it should say after fight, after reap, but it just says after fight / reap. Guessing the same thing, it's just different from a few of the other cards. We capture 1 for each house represented among Specialist Guthrak and its neighbours. So even if you put him between 2 Star Alliance creatures, they will still capture 1. If you had an Unfathomable and an Equidon either side, they would capture 3. We don't really have any ways of getting that amber off our creatures, but we do have ways of giving that creature with amber on it to our opponent to possibly get it back as amber generation. We had 3 Covetous Hema. One of them was overly enhanced with 3 draw enhancements and a capture enhancement. While they are not on a flank, they gain elusive, so that's that added protection if you have them in the centre or middle of your battle line and not on a flank, with the play effect of capture 3. In Equidon, we had that Maverick Stir Crazy. It's an action. Each ready creature captures 1 from its opponent. Now, that does include our opponent's creatures, so we do need to be careful how we use that. But it does look pretty cool. Exchange Program. Play, choose a friendly flank creature and an enemy flank creature. If you do, swap control of these creatures. That's how we get our amber back. Transitory Philosopher action, steal 1 for each enemy artifact. It did hit a draw enhancement. It has got 5 power. It's a beefy creature. I wouldn't call it amber control. I don't think it would prevent our opponent from playing an artifact. I'm pretty sure if they really wanted to play the artifact, the ability on it would outweigh this action here. And then we had 2 Trading Frenzy actions. 1 had a draw enhancement. Play a friendly creature and an enemy creature. Each capture 3 amber from their opponent. So, like I said, we do have a lot of capture, but we only have that 1 card that's going to switch position of our creatures with our opponent. Anything that was steal in there, which I think was just the Philosopher, and I'd say potentially the Exchange Program, and the capture enhancements, of which there were 5 in the deck, could possibly be expected amber. And the amberling is expected amber in itself, with the amount of token generation, should come in quite handy. We had insurance policy. It says play, lose 1, so if we don't have any amber, we can still play it, because it doesn't say you must lose 1. Had a draw enhancement, and it gives the creature destroyed. If it's not your turn, it's a straight gain 4. So you want to put it on something that your opponent probably wants to take out, because it has a nice effect. Maybe our Philosopher action there, if our opponent has 3 or 4 artifacts. If we put that on, it's still going to give us 4 amber when it leaves play. There was no artifact control, like I said, outside of that Philosopher, which I wouldn't really count as artifact control. We did have creature control. In Unfathomable, we had the Guiltspine Netcaster, put 2 capture enhancements and gained 1 capture enhancement. After Reap, exhaust a creature. And then the rest was in Star Alliance. We had the Photon Blast, 2 damage to a creature with 1 damage splash. If it destroys 1 or more creatures, we make a token creature. So token generation there. And then we had Red Alert. I can't see it working too well in this deck unless we've been absolutely board wiped first, because with the token generation we've got, we're going to have a lot of amberlings. And then we had Selective Preservation as well. Play, choose a creature of each power value, destroy each creature not chosen. A potential board stabilizer there. If we do have creatures of different power levels, we might be able to wipe our opponent's side. Efficiency, we had those Kelp Minders, which put 6 draw enhancements in our deck from 3 of them. We had a Shopping Spree. Discard your hand, draw a card for each card discarded this way. And then we had Grunt Work. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put them back in any order and make a token creature. Quite nice to possibly not token something that you want into your hand. We didn't hit a transporter platform or any way of bouncing tokens back to our hand, unfortunately, which would have been nice. There was no recursion, so if it's in our discard pile, we've got to cycle it around in our deck. We did have some disruption though. We had 2 sunk cost. Play, we choose a house. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand. If that card belongs to the chosen house, we make a token creature. Token creatures that added bonus. The main effect is you're discarding a card from your opponent's hand. Fantastic. You might want to check what they've got in play and what's in their discard pile before you call a house. You could probably play the odds on that one. We had Befuddled. Hello Keyforgers, Future Kraggy here. Just to explain Befuddled, because when I edited the video I realised I got it completely wrong when I did the initial breakdown. So Befuddled says, choose a house on your opponent's identity card. During their next turn, they cannot play cards of other houses. So unlike Mark of Dis and Control the Weak, you're not forcing your opponent to choose that house. They can still choose the other houses. They just won't be able to play any cards from those other houses, but they could use cards that they've already got in play and discard cards from their hand. I think it's a nice workaround that they've done to prevent locking someone completely into a house. Now back to the rest of the deck review. Then we had Abyssal Sight. We destroy a friendly creature. If we do, we look at our opponent's hand and choose a card from it. That player discards that hand. I like the way Unfathomable is kind of taking the disruption away from Dis a little bit. I would love to see in a future set Dis and Unfathomable together, though I think the card pools might be slightly different. One card I do want to talk about is Norbin's Cavern, which does go with our Ambling. Passive effect on this artifact saying that each Ambling gets +3 power and skirmish. Now they can't reap, so they'll probably just sit on our board because we don't want to fight in because they count as amber in our pool. But if we've got Norbin's Cavern in play, we'll be fighting quite a lot. So it will count towards that creature control. We did have the cards that dealt with making tokens. We had 3 higher on. One hit one of those capture enhancements, we make a token creature, and if there's a combined total of 6 amber or more between both players' pools, we archive higher on. Now we make the token creature first, that's a full stop, so that's 1 amber because the Ambling's going to be on the field. We had the Recruiter, after Reap, make a token creature. We had the Esquire. Each friendly non-token creature gains destroyed, make a token creature. That's quite nice, especially on our turn if we have a board full of non-token creatures and maybe we want to clear our opponent's board by fighting, and then we will repopulate with Amblings, possibly putting ourselves back on check. Teamwork in Star Alliance to make a token creature, and then if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, we archive Teamwork. Can't see that happening with the amount of generation we do have. We had the uplink in Star Alliance. Get an amp when we play it. Gives the character an action, so we can't reap or fight with it, but it does say make a token creature for each of this creature's non-Star Alliance neighbours. So if we think about putting it on Guthrak, who will probably have non-Star Alliance neighbours anyway, we can use either the action, the fight, or the reap effect. The fact that Guthrak's got skirmish might lead me towards the fight effect initially. We had Scout Chief. When you play it, you make a token creature, and then it's got the same effect of after reap and after fight to make a token creature. And then in Unfathomable, Kamalani. 4 power, destroyed, make 2 token creatures. So like I said, the token generation in this deck, absolutely insane. The only cards we haven't seen yet, but I did mention, were the 3 Kelp Miners. Now I don't mind having a creature that's put 3 enhancements in the deck when it's got 5 power. That's quite nice. We also had 2 Secure Droids, one with that final capture enhancement. I would probably lead to playing these to protect our Amblings and hope our opponent doesn't have spot removal to pick them off. I'm very happy with my first Winds of Exchange deck. I will be recording 3 games on the Crucible, and I will post that up as a video. I will wait until I've opened up the rest of the decks to see if any of the other decks in there are duplicates, in which case I can send Ghost Galaxy an email with them all in, and we'll see what happens. But apart from that, all that remains for me to say is good luck, have fun, keep forging.